Hello, hello. Just waiting for everybody to connect. Here. Okay. That was a little stressful, but I think everybody is in now, hopefully. Just have a couple more people connecting to the audio, then we'll get started. All right, cool. I think everyone's in, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Is the recording started? Okay, cool. All right, everyone can see my screen? Yeah, let me see. And you can, let me pull up the chat. Nice. And computer sounds shared. Okay, cool. Welcome everyone to our Japanese business culture meeting. Today should be a very fun, interesting meeting for everyone. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so let's just jump right into it. First, we're actually going to start with some updates. So if everybody could actually scan this QR code, we're going to start taking attendance at meetings now. And so if you could scan this and fill out the information as I talk about some of the updates, I would really appreciate that. It'll help us keep you guys updated and that kind of thing. So I'm going to leave this up for a second. Takashi, I think I can hear your K-drama. Okay. All right. Has everyone scanned it? Everyone good? Okay. So to start, yeah, first and last thing. So to start, we still have some open committee positions. So if you're interested in helping out with JSA, then just, does anyone have a direct link? Yeah, can anyone direct link it? Like use the QR code and then link it in the chat. I would really appreciate it if you can. Thank you. Yeah, so we still have open committee positions. So if anyone's interested in helping out with JSA, just message me or any of the other officers or say something in chat and we'll message you. Next week, we'll be having a moon viewing festival, and we're going to be collaborating with UT Austin's Japanese Association. That's going to be on Thursday and Friday next week because their meetings are hosted at Thursday at 7 p.m. and ours are at Friday at 6 p.m. So it's going to be like the same meeting, but you can go to both. It's going to be a lot of fun. You'll see more advertisements for that at the beginning of next week. And that's all for our updates this week. Not too much. And then there's the QR code one more time. It looks like there's also the link in chat, so if you can figure that out.
Hey, Kai.
Yeah, I see your question.
I have a question. Is there a difference between beginner and elementary?
So there's a little difference. So elementary would be like you're taking an elementary class and you're learning that way. If you're a beginner, then you've only taught yourself like some of the really, really basics, like hiragana.
Cool.
And that
Thanks for the clarification.
Okay. So let me introduce our guest speaker for the day is Kasia from IkigaiConnections. She does a lot of things with her like business that she runs. She helps bilingual speakers find jobs and all that kind of stuff and finding your ikigai, which is like your passion. I think she knows much more about it, so I'm going to let her take over here. So let me see. I think if I stop sharing, then you should be able to share your screen, and then I can like highlight you or something. But if you want to introduce yourself while you're here.
Sure. Is this okay now?
Let me see if I can spotlight you. I don't know what that did. Let me try this.
Okay.
You should be spotlighted.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Kasia. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. I'm very excited to be here with you. I first heard about your organization from Kai-san, which is so wonderful that we connected, even though I'm in Michigan and you guys are in Texas. I have always wanted to use my Japanese in a job, and I did it in Japan, Poland, Italy, and the United States. And now I created my own business so I can help others do kind of what I did. So I'll give you some advice as a senpai. So if you're interested, I'd be happy to connect with you on all my social media, my website, my newsletter. And I'm actually also, I just announced that I'm looking for interns if anybody's interested in that. It's just some online help with the website and maybe some research. So I just announced it on Thursday. But I will briefly share a presentation. I put something really simple together, and I just wanted to mention just 2 points about it. So if anybody has any questions, if there's time today, then you can please feel free to ask, or you can email me. I actually, in my, if you look at my little video on the bottom left-hand side, I put my email address, kasha@IkigaiConnections.com, so please reach out. Let me see if I can share my screen. Kai, it says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Okay, I'm going to just make you host and then just transfer me host back when you're done, okay?
Okay. Let me try that. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So, does everybody see this presentation?
Yep.
All right. So, in general, and I've traveled around many universities, high schools, middle schools, talking about why Japanese is important. And a lot of us study it for various reasons. And so I already gave my introduction, so I'm going to zoom through this, but if anybody's interested, you can look at my website where I have a blog, I have a job board. Of course, obviously now with the pandemic, it's really empty. So just have to wait till the economy kind of starts opening back up. I have a lot of videos I've done. I have just a teeny tiny YouTube channel that you can kind of look at. I've done a couple things in Japanese, which I'm not pera, which is fine. We don't have to be fluent in order to do things. So maybe you can get inspired by hearing my heta na Nihongo. And I also have a training program if anybody's interested in Japanese Jobs 101. So I'm always talking to people who study Japanese, and these are my top tips that I give them. This is just for studying. This is not even if you're interested in finding a job with this, but I think it's important to enjoy doing something. So let's say for example, I like watching Japanese TV drama. So that's a great way to study your Japanese. And it doesn't matter if, maybe you feel pressure to like study your Genki book or whatever you're using, your kyokasho, but if you actually enjoy maybe karaoke or manga or anime, that's also a great way to study Japanese. So I give you permission to use whatever you want, and you'll still learn some Nihongo that way. The next point is to focus on what you are best at. I talk to a lot of people who are, maybe they're better at speaking and listening, but reading and writing, they really stink at. And they're like, oh, Bakasha-san, I don't know what to do. My kanji is terrible and I can't, read and write. That's fine. Speaking and listening is a huge step anyways, because with Japanese, we know that speaking, listening, reading, and writing, your levels can be all over the place. And I've actually met some professional like translators who are writing and reading every day, but they can't really speak because they don't use it. It's not their strength. So I give you permission to be okay with picking something you have a strength in, and not worrying about like, oh, I don't know Keigo, or I don't know kanji, or I don't know whatever. It's fine. Pick what you're good at, and that's what you'll, I think, excel at. And lastly, I always tell everybody to take one step out of their comfort zone to improve. So let's say you in the future maybe think you may want to be an interpreter that requires speaking and listening. Well, maybe you can join some kind of group where you are talking a lot in Japanese, maybe with some Japanese people. Yesterday, I joined this networking session with JTB, the travel company, and it was 100% Nihonjin. And I think there were 2 of us who weren't Japanese. I was out of my comfort zone because I was speaking in Japanese the whole time. So try to find something that's just a little bit scary, and I think it can help propel you further. Now, if anybody is interested in actually using Japanese in a job, I talk about a career ikigai. And first of all, ikigai, if anybody, I think some of you may know it. It's kind of like your reason for living, and I say it's like your passion. But you don't necessarily have to use it in a job, but if you do, and if you want to use it with Japanese, then that's what I'm calling career ikigai. And I think that you really can do a lot of things with that. So I help through my blog and my training programs, I help people discover what they want to do that combines their knowledge of Japan, their personal interests, and their professional strengths. And then I help you do some research in that topic and then take that one step. always only one step. So you don't have to 100 steps from now, you're going to be a perfectly fluent interpreter translator. You're just going to do it one step at a time, doing an internship or just conversation practice or things like that. So this is it. This is my presentation. And I just always say that you're taking one stepping stone in your career quest, and Japanese will help you with that. So nothing is impossible. Go after your dreams. And that is my presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing right now. And I don't know, Kai, if you want me to answer questions now or you want to go into your program, just tell me what you want me to do.
I think we can answer some questions if anybody has questions for Kasha.
Awesome.
If
I'm also looking.
anyone has questions, you can type in chat or open your mic. Either is fine.
So me personally, I wanted to work as I want to work as a flight attendant and like be a translator, be able to use Japanese in English. How do you know like what would be the starting point for that?
Wow. So you want to be like a flight attendant?
Correct.
And does it matter you want to use your Japanese?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I actually have a friend who's Japanese, and she is a flight attendant in Japan. And that route is extremely cutthroat, difficult, like it's crazy. For some reason, being a flight attendant is like the top career path for so many females, I believe, in Japan, or at least it was maybe a few years back. But if you were interested in using your Japanese and applying through that, you are going to be different and unique, and they may be like, ooh, gaikokujin, like maybe we can do something with her so you get to use Japanese and English. Maybe you'd be the token gaikokujin who speaks in English to the, English people, American people or British people, whoever come on the plane, but you still get to use Japanese on a daily basis. As for, I don't know, are you based in Texas like everybody else? I think.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. I don't know about, I can't remember where the hubs are, but Delta, for example, they're huge into their Japanese business. So they, for example, in Michigan, they have a hub in Detroit. So when you go to the airport, you always hear Delta's Japanese and English bilingual announcement. So they might definitely be interested. And I think they've got to have a hub in Texas. You can look into that. But I think by highlighting your skills, absolutely. I mean, give it a shot. Absolutely try it.
ありがとうございます。
いえ、どういたしまして。
Baba-san in chat said that he thinks the biggest Delta International hub is in Atlanta. So that might
that's
be
true.
a good place. Thank you for your question. Does anybody else have any questions?
I also have one.
Yeah, go ahead.
For someone who's looking for, because I'm kind of want to go into the route of being a translator, and I was thinking of more of the higher ups, like for medical knowledge, and also for maybe like paralegal stuff. And I want to know your opinion on that kind of route.
You said translation, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is Jacob?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So there are many paths I believe you can take. You can go to a graduate school program that specializes in translation so that you have that degree. And usually from there, you can get like it's like an easier path to get to a job, because every company that needs like a high level interpreter translator will go to that school. I personally know of the MIIS, it used to be Monterey Institute for International Studies. Now it's Middlebury, and they're in Monterey, California. They're phenomenal. I'm not too familiar with any other schools. So you being an American, you're probably going to go into the direction of Japanese into English, so your native language. Now, that's kind of an expensive route because you have to pay for school loans for 2 years, but you're really going to get it's going to be amazing. And I've had a lot of friends who graduated from that program who are fantastic. The other route you can do, and something that I actually dabbled in, is you start gaining that experience in English and in that field. Let's say you said paralegal. So let's talk about paralegal. Let's say you start working as an arubaito, maybe an internship or a part-time job at some kind of legal office. Get familiar with the terms. Then, or you can even look for maybe Japanese law firm has some kind of opening for entry-level position, and you just go there and you help them. You have to become familiar. You have to be some kind of a subject matter expert you can't just immediately become a Japanese interpreter because you want to interpret, paralegal stuff. You need that experience to understand not just the words, how they translate literally, but the meaning behind it. So I know a lot of people who, at least here in Michigan in the manufacturing industry, they've worked at a manufacturing company for a couple of years. They picked up on all the lingo. They know how everything works. And of course, a degree in that area would also be helpful. So I don't know what your major is now at UT San Antonio, but if you can pair your Japanese with that subject matter expert together, that'll be fantastic. But you will have to, and I think it might be not the cheaper option, but the grad school option is extremely expensive. And if you can start slowly with some experience, you can also play around with what you actually think you might like to do. So you can try freelance opportunities. There's a website called pros.com, Proz.com. There's gengo.com. There's a bunch of others that you can go into, and they will, you can get experience by starting slowly and surely and gaining that, references and whatnot to get there. I hope that answered your question, but feel free to reach out to me if you wanted to dig deeper.
Yes, that answered my question. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And then Riri had a question in chat, if you'd like to read that, or I can read it out loud.
Is it the proficiency in Japanese? What's the difference of elementary? No, that was for you, I think.
Yeah, there's another one. I can read it out loud then. She
Okay.
said, I'm slowly learning Japanese as well. Right now I'm working on hiragana and katakana at the same time. Do you have any advice on if I should focus on kanji or all three equally? And do you have any other resources to learn Japanese? And she said, I have heard certain sites are not always resourceful.
Okay. I really think that this is a personal preference. So if you have a particular desire to do any particular path, that's your correct answer. For me, I really liked studying kanji at the same time. So you're working on hiragana and katakana at the same time. My personal preference is master hiragana and katakana so that you have a better understanding of how the language sounds, and then start doing kanji. And you can do, there's different levels of kanji. Start with the basics. If you have some kind of textbook, I used one, I can't remember what it was now. My teacher always made copies of it. Any textbook will help you start it with the most basic. Thank you, Gabrielle, for doing that, pros.com. The basic kanji that are simple, like that only have like 3 or 4 or 5 strokes. Don't get too overwhelmed, but do start small, because what happens is the very basic kanji that you learn, like the moon, the sun, the soil, all of those are going to become a part of the bigger kanji. And I don't know about you, but I love puzzles. And for me, I think I have a pictographic memory. So I've always found kanji easier to learn for me than hiragana and katakana. Now, everybody is going to be like, no, that's impossible. Like, I couldn't learn hanguru in Korean because it's only circled in lines. I need a story, and kanji has that story. So any other resources? I actually am not too familiar I can't give you any app recommendations right now for like language learning, but if you want to, that's all written stuff. If you ever want to practice your reading, your speaking, and your listening, there's actually, I just started a partnership. I don't know if you'd find this interesting or not. There's a company that does a conversation platform where you speak with elderly citizens in Japan. And it's really cute. You learn all of these amazing things from them, and it's called Sail, and it's on my website, and I can tell you more about it. So if you're interested, please send me some information. So thank you.
ありがとうございます。
どういたしまして.
Okay. We're going to do one more question, and then we're going to get into our presentation. But then after the meeting, we can ask more questions. So if you didn't get your question answered. So one person put a question in chat. I'll read it off for you. He said, I have an interest in localization jobs, either localization of Western media to Japanese or Japanese media to the West. Obviously, the latter would be much easier to start with, but I was wondering, beyond language skills, what would I need, and what does that career path look like right now? Would I most likely end up living here in the States or in Japan? That was from Rich Barberson.
So Western media to Japanese or Japanese media to the West. So by media, if you're talking about TV, newspaper, magazines, online stuff, I think if there's an interest in, let's say I'm talking about Texas. So if in Texas you have a lot of people like yourself that are interested in Japanese media, and you are in Texas and you see that, wow, there's all these people that are interested in this, but there's no subtitling, there's no translation, or maybe it is a translation, but it's not localized. So the meaning is not coming across. If you see that that kind of demand exists, then by all means, you'd be able to work in your state of Texas and help bring all these things that you probably love about Japan to Texas. But if you wanted to do the opposite and go from something that like is in the US and you want to introduce it to Japan, so some kind of Western media to Japan, then that might be helpful to live in Japan as well. However, getting a job in that situation might be a little difficult, especially now Japan's not letting anybody in. But you can also do a lot of things remotely and online. So maybe there are companies that would help with the localization. I would recommend going to like a translation company. The translation and interpretation companies or agencies, they help with not just translation, but the localization as well. And you might be able to get some experience there. I really think that start local, start somewhere close. And then once you get a little bit more information about the industry, then you can start making decisions about, oh, do I go to Japan? Do I want to stay here? Currently, I would say for the next 6 months, and I don't know if you are interested in some kind of internship right now, but Japan's not letting anybody in for a while, so you've got some time to kind of do some research, and of course you can always reach out to me and we can continue conversation, kind of talking about this some more.
Okay, thank you for the questions, guys. And like I said, if you have any more, we'll talk about them later. Kasha, if you may give host back to me so
Sure.
that I can re-present.
So how do I
think you could just right click on me and then make host.
okay. Make host. Gotcha.
Nice. All right, cool. I'm the host now. Let's go. All right. Can everyone see again? I think we're good. Share computer sound is on. Got it. Okay. So thank you so much for your presentation and answering the questions. I hope that helped some of you guys out. Now I'm going to try to get this done pretty quickly since we lost some time at the beginning, and I think we should be okay. So we're just going to go over some of the basics of Japanese business culture. If you guys have taken any of the like Asian related courses they offer at UTSA, your teachers might have already talked about some of this stuff, but for those that haven't, hopefully this is going to be interesting for you. So we're going to start out with some of the basic etiquette. I'm not going to read all that. Share off the slide, don't worry. If you'd like to read that to supplement your information, that's up to you. So one of the most important things in business in Japan is the greeting. So there's three main things that are associated with greetings in Japan. One of them is bowing, another is business cards, and how you refer to people, their name. So with regards to bowing, everyone knows like the simple just light bow for like just kind of showing respect. And as it says here, the junior person initiates the bow, just 30 to 45 degrees. There's different types of bowing. You can go all the way down to the ground. I mean, that's over the top, but just a polite bow to show respect is very common in business in Japan. Another very big part of business in Japan is actually business cards. It's a really big business there is the business cards. Oops. And so they're very important, and like exchanging business cards with other people is very respectful. You use both your hands to hand it to them, and it's also like keeping their business cards is very respectful too, and keeping track of them and that kind of thing. Almost everybody like has business cards that they print out. You can stand out also if you have a very unique business card. It's a way to stand out. And then names. So in Japan, unlike America, you're referred to by your last name, very common in Asian countries. So the example is the name Tanaka Hiroshi. Tanaka is their last name, but they use it first, and Hiroshi is their first name, which is used last. And so then when you're referring to other people, you refer to their last name and then san at the end. So this example would be Tanaka-san, or for me, I would be Wagner-san. So we use it like that. And that's the basics of greetings. Next, we're going to talk about modesty. So we have three different things here as well: accepting work, pride and value, and the blame game. So accepting work, the business workers only accept things that they intend on finishing, and they often finish like with really good results. Pride and values. So this is actually pretty important. In America, businesses are really focused on the individual, but in Japan, just like everything else, and in business too, it's all about the group and like fitting in with the group, that kind of thing. Let me open the chat so I know what everybody's saying. An IT guy I follow made business cards that have a built-in USB bootable Linux drive. That's insane. That's awesome. So like I said, it's all about the group, working together and being successful. And being a value employee. Like, and another thing in Japan is that once you're part of a company, the idea is that you're going to stay with that company for the rest of your life. It's seen as a pretty bad thing to jump around between companies. It could, honestly, if you jump around a lot, companies aren't going to hire you. They don't think you're consistent. And then blame game. So Japanese workers won't blame anybody else for problems. In fact, I think there's probably examples of something that happened that wasn't directly their fault, but they're still going to take responsibility for it. That's just how Japanese workers are. That's the culture there. And then nomikai. So nomikai is basically what it means is like drink meeting. So in Japan, in work, you can't really socialize too much. It's very strict. You just get your work done. But that's when after work, your boss invites you to go to the izakaya, and everybody goes and gets drunk together. So, and that way they can like socialize and relax after a long day at work. This practice is seen bad by a lot of people because it's requiring their employees to do work outside of work. Because if you don't go to these nomikais, your bosses might not be as favorable of you. But and it's also where you see the image is of the Japanese businessmen drunk sleeping in the subway overnight. It's kind of a sad image to see, but funny at the same time. Like, it's not really funny, but you still laugh when you see a drunk businessman on the subway, in the pictures at least. Anyways, this is a very common practice in Japan, as well as other countries. I believe Korea and China also kind of have this culture. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about appearances. So Japanese tend to focus on conformity rather than individuality. So the like outfits that you can wear are very strict. You can't like mediate from it, and it's very like strict business style. Like, you have to look very professional in Japanese businesses. And then we have written here, moderations can be made depending on the season. So if it's really hot, maybe you can wear some lighter clothes. So for business hours, we have 3 different topics here. So paid time. The chat is blocking my thing. So you can see in these graphs, like the years of service and how many leave days you're given. So if you work for the company for 3.5 years, then you're given 14 days leave. And if you've worked 6 consecutive months, you're entitled to paid leave. And this increases the length of service, like I said. Let me see the chat. Okay, cool. So yeah, it's honestly not much when you think about it in the world standard. And all of these things are slowly changing in Japan. Japan is starting to become better on their workers for a variety of reasons. Hopefully it can continue in that good direction. And then over here we also have overtime. So you get increased pay depending on what kind of overtime you're working. I don't have exact statistics of when these were implemented, but I would assume within like the last 10, 15 years, because most of this was not in place in the past. Okay, so let me move on. Then public holidays. So in Japan, there's actually 16 nationally celebrated public holidays versus 8 in America. And here's a long list of the public holidays. A fun fact is this week was considered Silver Week, I believe they called it. So in the past, or every year there's something called Golden Week where the Japanese workers get like a bunch of days off because there's a bunch of holidays. I believe, I think it's probably this right here. May 3rd, 4th, and 5th is 3 different holidays in a row. I'm assuming this is Golden Week, but I don't remember 100%. But there was a Silver Week this week because Respect for the Aged Day was on, I believe, the 21st this year, which was Monday, and then the autumnal equinox was on the 23rd, which was this Wednesday. And there's a law in Japan that says if 2 public holidays are like 2 days apart, then the day in between the public holidays is also a holiday. So that means this week, Japanese had from last Saturday to this Wednesday off from work because of that rule and those 2 holidays. So that's pretty exciting for Japan, I guess. Good for them. Then we have closer look. So we're gonna watch this short video. Actually, how much time do we have? It's already 6:40. This video is 13 minutes long. If we didn't have that 10 minutes, there's a little activity I want to get to as well. So actually, I think what I'm gonna do 1.25, 1.5 speed, then it'll be 7 minutes long. I just kind of want to do the activity and cut it up a little bit. So, thanks for coming, Baba-san. Thanks for coming. It's unlucky that you have to leave early. But if you need to contact Kasia, you can find her information at IkigaiConnections.com. So if you wanted to continue conversation with her. Are you sending that, Kasia? Are you gonna head out as well?
Oh no, I just added it in case anybody was interested.
Okay.
Thanks, Rich.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. So yeah, we're not gonna watch the video. Gabby, if you could find the video and link it in chat in case anyone wants to save it and watch it, because it's actually really interesting. I'm a little sad that we can't watch it, but it's gonna start playing, but we're not gonna watch it. I'm so sorry, everyone. Okay, things to keep in mind. So gifts in Japanese movie night where we watched that video. Yes, 13-minute movie night. Let's go. Okay. Thank you, Kevin, for linking the video. So everyone, bookmark that. You can watch it on your own. I'm so sorry. So gift giving is very important in Japanese culture and the business culture especially. So season's greeting cards. Every time there's a New Year's, you're like not required, but it's expected that you give greeting cards to keep your relationships with your coworkers or business partners. And then another thing is omiyage, which is souvenirs. So if you go, let's say you have a vacation and you go to Okinawa and you love it there, but you know all your coworkers are going to be expecting you to come back with some gifts for them because you went to Okinawa and they didn't. So that's not fair, right? Well, that's how they feel like. So you have to pick up some things to give to your coworkers when you come back. If you're giving gifts in Japan, it's kind of it's respectful for you to return the gift with something of a similar value, and something that's kind of like personalized for each person as well. Next, so what you know is also very important. Like having a general understanding of like Japan and that kind of thing as a foreigner is like super important. Just being able to make conversation with people, even if you don't know Japanese. I don't know how many of us will end up working there without knowing Japanese. Hopefully you learn, but just knowing basic things, knowing more things, interesting things, going around and visiting places in Japan just to have things to talk about. It's just super important, and it'll help you keep good relationships with your coworkers. Okay, so I think we're gonna start with our activity now. Now let me explain this to you guys a little bit. So we're gonna go into breakout rooms, and you're going to be introducing yourself in Japanese. So for everyone that isn't confident in their Japanese or really doesn't know anything, you're gonna be able to learn the basics of how to really politely introduce yourself. So if you could take a picture of this on your phone or something, so that way you can read it. 3 groups of 9. Yeah, we can do something like that. So this is known as a jiko shoukai, which just means self-introduction. And then I'll give an example. So, hajimemashite, Kaidan to moshimasu, yoroshiku onegaishimasu, and then give a little bow too. And then you can also say, like, I don't know, your major and stuff in English. Just introduce yourself, but start with the Japanese, okay? So everyone take a picture or whatever you need to do to remember it. And then we're gonna split the breakout rooms. Everyone has the picture? Okay. Hopefully.
We say our first name, right, Kai?
So I use my first name, but you can actually do your last name if you'd like, because that would technically be what you would use in Japan. So
Okay, cool.
It's up to you. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and start the breakout rooms. 25 people in. There we go. This looks pretty good. 26 groups of 1. Let's go. All right. I'm gonna create the rooms now. So yeah, everyone just introduce yourself and get to know each other. Thank you.
maybe. Oh, Kylan, hi.
Hello. Just
Hey.
just here to watch you guys, except nobody has their camera on, so there's nothing to watch.
Yeah, true.
Go ahead, ignore my presence.
Okay. I'll go first. はじめまして、デイビス・ウェスリーと申します。大学3年生です。よろしくお願いします。ブンブンブンブン。
上手ですね。
まあまあ。
Okay. はじめまして、ブラディ・シドニーと申します。私は大学4年生です。よろしくお願いします。
Very good.
よろしくお願いしま
よろ
す。
しくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。はじめまして、マリアと申します。22年生です。よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いしま
よろ
す。
しくお願いします。
じゃあ、
お願いします。
I'm gonna go check up on some of the other rooms. いやー、
軍に入るつもりです。
how's it going?
Hopefully.
Everything's going well?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, basically. We didn't know that there'd only be 3 people.
Should I do more next time?
I don't know.
I thought you said 3 groups of 7, and then
We
there's
were-
2 of us. Yeah,
we were
there's
just
3 of us.
chilling.
Oh.
Oh.
That's a lot of people.
That's
All right.
true.
I'm gonna close all rooms now, and then we're gonna do it again.
Oh, really? Okay.
Huh?
Well, I'm gonna introduce myself really, really fast. Kylan, don't force it.
I'm not gonna
Yeah,
force it.
I'm not leaving.
Kylan, don't force it.
I'm not leaving.
All right. All right. はじめまして。
Hey.
Hey,
Hey.
wait, Enrique is gaming.
True.
Yo, it's popping.
I like the angle of the camera.
You do, bro?
Hi.
It's like the,
Why is it only the boys in here? Everyone's not leaving their room.
POV, you're my monitor.
Or like I'm your mouse pad.
True. I feel like your mouse pad.
Damn, I accidentally unmuted my camera. So
If you-
I'm like,
If I were your monitor, you'd be looking at me at least.
really?
Cade, what's up?
Hi, can you hear me?
Dude, Kyler was so sad we couldn't watch that
Yeah.
video. That was
Your
such a
mic
good video. I love that
so
video.
bad.
Kylan, don't make
Bro, you need to switch it from the webcam mic. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
It looks like we're all in.
Yes. I was stalked. Then.
Yes, it was stopped. We're gonna do another one.
Okay.
I know, we like barely started talking and then it was like timer. Like,
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
we barely
I went into like 3 rooms and they're all done. I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll end them now. Sorry about that if I ended too quick. Oh, okay, I'm so sorry. I'll do a little longer this one. I'm sorry. Let's go.
I just learned that I can't speak fast at all. I'm literally like saying the words very, very slowly and very, very badly.
That's okay.
So
Do 4 groups of 6. Easy.
I did 6 groups of 4.
Okay, that works.
Okay. What's up, Takashi? Genki. Okay. I guess I'll start us off. はじめまして。大志と申します。よろしくお願いします。I am 4年生。大学の後、軍に入るつもりです。
はじめまして、トメスタカシと申します。Wait, what are we supposed to say? Like our major, right?
Dozo Yodoshiku. Onegaishimasu.
Say what?
Dozo yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Oh, we weren't supposed to say our major?
I mean, you can say your major. Yeah, go ahead.
Modern language です。よろしくお願いします。
Good. I'll go. はい、はじめまして。私はミシェルと申します。
私はつまらない、つまらない人ですよね。じゃあ、どうぞよろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
What?
Okay, I'm gonna jump into another room.
Hey,
You want
Kylan.
your-
You joined the Chinese and
Yeah.
Southeast Asian room, dude.
你好，
Ni hao.
我是海兰，很高兴认识你。
Well,
What
that
are
was
you
good.
doing? Why is it
Wait.
only your face?
Harold, I do not like that background.
Why is it only your face? Wait, I'm recording. That's gonna go to the YouTube video.
No, dude. No.
I gotta get out of this breakout room. I gotta go.
Go.
Konnichiwa.
What's up? Konnichiwa.
How's this room going?
Oh yeah, we did it really fast this time. Yeah. We went
Nice.
through.
I'm giving them some extra time, since some people are slow.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. No, every room I've gone to, they're done. Like, it's happening again. I don't know. I'm gonna go to this room now.
I don't know much about for Texas, but I know back in North Carolina, you can go down to the courthouse, do a test, and you're legally a translator for the court. And that was that easy, but I got to experience it here.
I got jury duty, and that was all they were talking about. They're like recruiting and all this stuff. It's because like they be hiring.
Yeah, but here I think people like they only want people who speak Spanish. If I go in there, like somebody with Japanese are like, nah, you're not allowed here. Go away. We want
There's
Spanish.
always a market for it though, somewhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, Japanese doesn't have that many uses outside of Japan, but
You'd be surprised though. Like there's this internship I found in my like mailbox on Handshake, and it was like Japanese accounting auditing. And I'm like, what is Japanese accounting auditing? And it was like in New York. I'm like, okay.
California, Bay Area, it is supposed to have a lot higher Japanese populations, a lot of Japanese Americans, so there could be a lot of jobs over there as well.
Very true.
I think I'm gonna end the room now. I hope
Okay,
I didn't
thank
hop
you,
on and interrupt the
Andrew.
conversation. I was just listening to everyone.
Yo, skater.
Gabby, your mic's muted.
Ow!
I saw you
You
talking.
did this on purpose, bro. That was me whenever.
Hey.
Okay, but that happened whenever I went into the room. Here's Enrique still gaming doggy.
What the?
Oh my goodness! Hi.
All right, I'm spotlighting Enrique.
You chilling, bro? Yeah, we can't hear you, bro.
Yeah, your mic's muted, Enrique.
Yeah.
He just woke up.
Aw. He's chilling.
And he's back to sleep.
Aw.
We're still waiting on everybody to return. They have 5 seconds. Here they come.
5 seconds, yo. Where Popo?
I'm sorry if you're having fun. You can always talk to everybody you meet outside of the meeting. They don't disappear. Everybody here actually exists, even though you can't see them in person. Everyone in here is a real person. There is no outside lies. Trust me. I swear I don't have some like AI program. I didn't design everyone here. Oh, actually Isabella is an AI. I did design her. She's not real. Okay, so just for fun, let's all introduce each other. Let's all introduce ourselves at the exact same time, overlapping everyone so nobody can understand anything.
はじめまして、友高しです。
はじめまして。
はじめまして。よろしくお願いします。
どうぞよろしくお願いします。
お願いいたします。
お願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
大好きで。こちらこそお願いします。
はじめまして。アンドルと申します。よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
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 Okay, all right. Good job, everyone. Everyone has Yoku learned everything.
今日はマジでゲームです。よろしくお願いします。
Oh no.
I'm really proud of Mina-san.
よろしくお願いし
Okay,
よろしくお
so
願いいたし
brother.
ます、brother.
よろしくお願いします, brother.
よろしくお願いいたします。
よろしくお願いします.
For
Alright.
favor.
よろしくお願いします。
All right, so scan these things. On the left is our link tree, so you can follow all our social media, and on the right is the Spotify. Actually, the Spotify is in the link tree too, so you can use either one. Spotify has some sick playlists. If you want to listen to some nuts music, you click on that.
Title's where it's at.
We got some sick music in there. Nuts music, yes, you know how it is. Has everyone 終わりました? Then if you have, I hope you did, we're going to go back to this QR code all the way over here. There it is. So if you didn't were in here at the beginning, please scan this QR code and sign in as attendance. We're going to be doing this every week from now on, so be sure to look out for it. Yes, Osu player keyboard moment. Am I streaming Osu on Zoom after this? I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. I believe that's everything. I do want to open up questions again. So our meeting is ending here. But if anyone still had any questions for Kasia before we leave, you can go ahead and ask them. But this is the official end of the meeting. So if you don't want to hear the questions or you don't want to ask any questions, then you're welcome to leave now. Thank you everyone for stopping by, and make sure to stay active in our group me and our Discord and stuff. Hang out. Let's be a family, guys. Let's all make friends here. So I hope you met some new people today. And yeah, that's all. Thanks for coming to the meeting this week, guys.
Thank you so much.
よろしくお願いします。
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 お疲れございます。
よろしくお願いします。
またね。
またね。So does anyone
ま
have
た
any
にゃん。
does
よ
anyone
ろし
have any
よ
questions?
ろしく
Kasia?
お願いします。
I actually have a question for Kasia-san.
Yes.
So I'm graduating this semester, actually. I'm studying for my N2 currently, and my
Nice.
girlfriend is Japanese, so I spend quite a lot of time doing all that stuff. But my question's similar to one that was asked earlier. The only difference is I think he asked about localization jobs, like a pathway to get into localization. However, I actually want to be a English teacher in Japan itself. But ALT じゃなくて、本当の英語の先生。And I know that with licenses a lot, it's really weird over there because you have to be a Japanese citizen, but there's a special license that you're able to get after a certain amount of time and experience and all that. I was just wondering if you had any friends that had experiences, or if you yourself had any experiences trying
Now,
to get
are
into.
you talking about higher ed, so college professor type situation, or?
More like I would really like to teach high school, however, college as well eventually.
Okay.
But I do really like teaching high school students over college students.
Well, there's two things I would say. The first one is you have to really be considerate of your visa status, because getting a job that will get you a visa is extremely frustrating and difficult, especially now. And have you considered the JET program by any chance?
Yes, I have. That's actually, I'm going to apply for that. It opens up in the middle of October this time. I saw their tweet saying it got delayed slightly.
Yes, not just slightly. The people who are supposed to leave this November, they've been kind of indefinitely postponed. So yeah, it's kind of scary, but I would say that the JET program is probably one of the best ways to get to Japan, because not only do they help you with a visa, but they literally hook you up with everything you need. And they have such great orientations that if you are kind of uncertain about how to take that next step, that's a great way to go. The other thing that I would recommend is, I don't know if you listen to podcasts, but there's jobsinjapan.com. Bye. They have a podcast called ALT Insider, and they are focused on English teaching stuff. So I would recommend going there and listening to some really good interviews and getting like some connections there with like schools that you'd be interested in like applying to, depending on which area you want to go to. But definitely check that out.
Of course. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hello, Kasia. Alex mentioned JET, and I'm very interested in it as well. I was looking towards applying when I become a junior or a senior. But I was wondering, do you know what the competitiveness of that is? Like, how difficult it is to get in it?
Oh, so I do know that it is quite competitive. It depends on the state. So the consulate general, wherever it is, for us, it's Michigan and Ohio together. For you guys, it's probably just Texas. And I think you might even have 2 consulates in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So it depends on the population that's applying. Here in Michigan, it's very competitive. It's a very good program. A lot of people apply. And I think you need to be a graduate before you can apply. And I don't believe there's an age limit, so you can be however old you want to be. The application process is very strict. So you really need to be like on top of your application. So don't leave things out. If they're asking for your college diploma or college like transcript, be sure you give them an original, like read the instructions very carefully. And I think you'll be able to do that. I didn't do the JET, I did the MEXT scholarship. And they're both kind of run by the Japanese government, or both supported that way. So they're both kind of like muzukashi maybe, but I really think it's possible, and it's a lifetime, I mean, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So you should still apply, even though the country may be a little closed right now. And this year's cohort is uncertain about what's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to go later, if it's going to be pushed, or if they're going to skip it this year. The future is a little bit uncertain. So just keep paying attention to their updates, but definitely apply. At a minimum, just try it. I think it'd be very worth it.
Well, how much, do you know how much, like a JLPT N2 or N1 or maybe the levels below that would help your application?
Nope, I don't think you necessarily have to worry about your language level. I think it's about more your personality, your ability to teach, your wanting to interact with Japanese people, because the purpose of the JET program is to bring native English speakers to Japan and of other languages too, and to share this intercultural relations. However, if you are really high in your Japanese language, an N1 or an N2, actually, I even think an N3 might be possible, but you can apply for the JET CIR program. CIR is Coordinator of International Relations, and that is the perfect solution to skyrocket your Japanese. People who do that, they're working in like a governmental office, so they're using business Japanese daily. I mean, your head is going to explode like the first few months, but then you come out speaking such amazing Japanese. So if you're in the higher level, I'd recommend the CIR position.
I would definitely be interested in that, because I feel like I realized I'm more interested in improving my Japanese, although going to Japan would be an amazing opportunity itself. I've become really focused on just more so the language, my language skills recently.
Good for you. Ganbatte kudasai.
Thank you very much.
I have a question. So what's the difference between like ganbatte and ganbaru? Because I've heard those 2 words a lot recently.
So ganbaru is what you say like about yourself, like I will ganbaru. But ganbatte is when you tell somebody, ganbatte kudasai, hey, good luck. However, I will throw a trick in there. If you want to say ganbatte imasu, you'll learn that conjugation at some point, but that means I am ganbatte doing. I am doing ganbatte. So it is kind of tricky, but just always be sure to listen to the verb until the very end. That's a tricky thing for interpreters, because they are listening to somebody say a Japanese sentence. So you're waiting until the very end of that sentence where they say tabeta, tabetakunai, like I like to eat, I don't want to eat it, I ate it. Like you're just waiting to hear that verb. So pay attention to the verb and you'll be fine. But I know you're still in the beginning level, so don't worry about it too much.
I have a question about the MEC scholarship.
Yes.
have already like seen a lot of stuff about it already, but the people who I've seen it have used it for more of like technical schools and everything.
Oh.
And I was wondering, could I use it for probably linguistic stuff if I wanted to?
I believe, I know that they changed things in recent years, so my answers are not going to be accurate. Definitely do your reading and contact the consulate, your local consulate, with more questions. I believe that any field could be a possibility as long as you find a school or somebody to help mentor you. So you have to do some research in that area. Me personally, I didn't have to do too much research into a particular school. I just chose a geographic area. But I think now they're asking that you like do a little bit more research, but definitely do MEXT if you can. If that's something you're interested in, it's so worth it. It is just like JET, also life-changing, but since I personally experienced MEXT, I thought it was just wonderful. I mean, who pays you to go study Japanese in Japan? It's like a dream come true, right? So taking some time to put together a really good application and to do some research, and they hook you up with a place to live and everything, and even like a monthly stipend so that you can go get your food or whatever you need. Do it.
How long, if I may ask, how long did you stay in Japan for? Well, on the MEXT scholarship.
I was, well, the MEXT at that time allowed you to extend it. So I was there for 1.5 years at first, and then I extended it because I got accepted into the master's program of the university I was at. So on the MEXT scholarship, I was there 3.5 years. But total, I was in Japan for about 8.
Wow. Did you have to pay, because I know it's like something about when I was doing research about their, what's it called, taxes, yeah, their taxes and everything, and that because I know students, whenever they go to, like a lot of foreign students, when they go there, they don't have to pay any taxes, but after they stay there, they have to fill out a sheet saying that, oh, I'm a foreign student and everything, even if they're working there, a foreign student, and that they shouldn't like get billed later on for that stuff. And I was wondering, did you ever have to fill out that sheet, or did you ever have to pay taxes, even if you were working or not?
I don't remember filling out that sheet when I was a MEXT scholar, but I did when I stayed in Japan and I found a job there. Then I had to do my taxes for 3 years when I worked there for 3 years.
Okay.
But you have to also pay attention to the treaty between like the US and Japan. And I was able to withdraw the taxes I paid into their Social Security because I left in less than 3 years, and brought it back home to me, and I was able to cash that money. So one thing that people don't really talk about is like the Social Security taxes that you paid into the system, you are able to take it out within a certain amount of time. So I did it. I think I believe it hasn't changed, but it's under 3 years.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Maria, yes, of course, please do. I missed a comment here from someone. Alex, they're having meeting. Is Alex still here?
I think he just left.
Just left? Okay. Yeah. And Ty, a little about the MEXT scholarship. I think, did you have any other questions?
He just asked, what is it exactly?
What is it? It is so in Japanese, Monbu Kagakusho Shogakin, the scholarship that the Monbu department of the Japanese government provides for scholarship, for studying. So it helps you go to another university. So you kind of extend your stay as a student. So you can go there directly after being an undergraduate, or if you are a graduate student, let's say you decide to go to graduate school, you can also continue that in Japan. So it helps you extend your school. And they give you a pretty good scholarship for that, so it's nice.
Cool. Thank you for answering.
You're welcome.
I also have like one more question. It's an extremely broad question. So
sure.
Right now I'm studying Japanese. Eventually when I graduate, I want to do JET and those kind of things. But I also kind of want to like kind of like how you like watching Japanese dramas. I like listening to a lot of Japanese music. So I kind of want to like I don't mind being like a teacher and stuff like that. I also want to know like is there any way like for me to get into like the music industry, if that makes sense? It's a really broad question, but I was wondering if you have any idea how I could do that.
I was actually in the music industry.
Oh, really? That's good. Cool.
Yeah,
What
so
kind of things did you do?
there's a huge, I mean, it's a huge industry. So when I was in graduate school, I did my research on TV dramas. And I was so in love with the songs that came up in the TV dramas that I started learning more about it. And I started just going to all the major companies like Sony and all these record companies and TV stations, because they're huge with music as well. It's difficult to get into that industry as a Japanese person. So I thought, hey, I'm going to play the gaijin card and I'm going to try to get into this industry and say, hey, I speak Japanese, hire me, I'll bring you all these cool things, right? I actually did have you heard of the Shushoku Katsudo? It's the actual job search in Japan that graduates go through. So I did that with everybody. And I did get some interviews, but I think it was mostly because they wanted to see who the heck this gaikokujin was that was talking in Japanese and completing this form, this long application process. So I did a lot of research in like the Japan Times or gaijinpot.com, those kinds of websites. And I actually came upon a music promoting company, a concert promoting company. So I worked at, it's called Kyodo Tokyo, so KYODO Tokyo.com. And they basically organize concerts for all these musicians coming from overseas. So I was helping them bring these bands from the US, UK, and Australia. So look up, you can Google promotion companies in that regard. You can look up, like, I don't know if you're interested in actually making music, or can you tell me a little bit more about that?
I'm not really musically inclined. I can't really make music per se, but I just really like the industry. Like I'm not sure if you know what South by Southwest is.
Yes.
And I helped volunteer and I think maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. And I saw like a lot of people from all over the country kind of come over, stuff like that, or all over the world rather. There's
South by Southwest is huge in Japan. Every promoting company and artist, person, whoever, they send people to South by Southwest to go find new acts. So I don't know if there's a way that you can maybe offer to South by Southwest that, hey, I can be some kind of interpreter, or I can help support the Japan people coming in, because they're always traveling there. Most of the time these people do speak English, so you're already getting an international bunch, but they might need help with like getting around Austin, and maybe they just need some information on local things to do. So maybe there's some way, if you've already volunteered at South by Southwest, that might be your in to help make these contacts. And then once you have the power of networking in Japanese companies is huge. Just by knowing somebody and introducing yourself, especially if you know a little bit of Japanese, can go a long way. So the only other thing you have to keep in mind is the visa situation. Not every company, a lot of these companies are smaller, so like 50, 60, 70 people or so, maybe even less. They may not have the means to sponsor a gaikokujin to give them a visa. So sometimes the bigger companies are better, but the bigger companies are harder to get into. So just focus on networking. I think that would be really helpful. So yeah, maybe look into South by Southwest next year if they have it.
Yeah, I know they canceled it and stuff like that, but the last
They
time
canceled it for next year already?
or no, sorry, this like last
This year.
Yeah, I haven't looked into it yet. But I'm supposed to be in like Nagoya, like studying abroad, if Corona didn't happen. So maybe I could try to see if I could help out with South by if I'm still in the States.
And you know what? Make connections with them. And then if you do happen to go on your study abroad, whether it's delayed or postponed, whatever, then you can say, hey, South by Southwest, I'm going to be in Japan. Do you need me to do any research for you? Meet anybody before they come, or something like that. Like a lot of times I've created opportunities by asking the question and planting a seed in somebody's mind to say, hey, you want to promote your event. You want to invite more people. So here's my idea for how to do that. And if you can become like helping them with the Japan market, they would, I think, find it very valuable. But I know South by Southwest is very huge right now, so maybe they're so big anyways, but you could give it a try. And then if you do go to Nagoya or wherever, if your study abroad thing happens, that is your perfect opportunity to do some research and just go around to all the music places and go to networking events. Networking is definitely the way to go.
Okay, thank you so much for answering the question.
You're welcome.
I also have a question.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for coming here and like sharing all this knowledge with us.
Of course, my pleasure.
Yeah, so my name's Tosin. I'm a junior here. I just transferred here and I major in global affairs.
Nice.
I like used to study Japanese like as a major. I still study it now, but like more so on my own because I've taken like all the classes and everything. I don't really know how I would get to Japan. I've never been there like for study abroad or anything. But like I want to be able to use the language like in whatever career I end up in. And I sort of was thinking of like still sort of like going to like grad school or something for just to like get more industry knowledge and whatever it is I end up doing because I have no idea. But I would and I also like would need to take the JLPT at some point. And so I was just sort of wondering like what like if you have any advice for someone who like maybe can't get the MEX scholarship or JET because like I'm not from here, I'm from Nigeria, so
Oh, nice.
so I feel like I have to like find my way there and it's not going to be super simple.
Well, I know that, I mean, I'm sure Nigeria and Japan have some kind of agreement where maybe you can also do like the 90-day visa. Well, I think most countries have that with Japan, that you can go there as a tourist for 90 days. But the other option is you could go and teach English. And there's a lot of companies that you can look into. I actually wrote a blog post about it, about I want to get to Japan, but how? Teaching English is probably one of the easier ways to do that because of the visa aspect. There's a lot of schools that need teachers that are coming from abroad, and there's big schools. So they're the ones that can give you a visa, and sometimes they even hook you up with an apartment. So you arrive, they pick you up at the airport, they bring you to your apartment, and you're kind of there for like at least a year or so. And that gives you enough time to kind of do your research and look around and see what you like. Do you like the city? Do you like the countryside? So it definitely gives you a kind of, you don't have to know any Japanese for that. If you do know some Japanese, then it's always a plus. I, for example, because I knew Japanese, they always put me in with the beginner English students. So these are the students who are like so nervous to talk to me in English. And I was like, konnichiwa. And they're like, oh, haro. And then we just like, I'd give them the confidence to speak to me in a little bit of Japanese, a little bit of English, and they loved it. So that's also a plus for some schools if you can say that you know Japanese. So that's one way. But I think, again, hopefully the world will reopen again and Japan will start letting people in. But I would look into how the visa situation or the travel visa is for Nigeria and Japan. I think you'd be able to at least go there for some kind of break, or, you know, oh, there's also programs, schools that you can go to where you do intensive Japanese language. Have you heard of the IUC?
I have, yes.
That one is very highly regarded.
Yeah.
I think you just go there maybe 6 months to a year. And there are some schools, I think there's one in like Shinjuku. Look up Japanese language schools, Tokyo or Japan. There's some schools, I think there's one, it's like the Shinjuku School of Japanese or something like that, where they will also give you a visa, a school visa, a student visa. So you go there for like 6 to 8 months and you can learn some.
Kasha, I think your connection just went out. Uh-oh. Oh, there. Your connection went out for a second, Kasha, but I think you're back now.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you didn't hear me say anything?
No.
It was only a couple seconds.
Oh, yeah. No. Try the English option and the Japanese schools. You can Google something, Japanese language schools in Shinjuku, Tokyo, and other places like that.
All right, thank you so much.
I have to head out now, actually. So I have to end the meeting here. But if any of you guys still have more questions, you can contact Kasha. If you go to her website, she has all of her like information there, and you can email her or whatever. So
sounds good.
Should be good. Thank you for coming and speaking at our meeting.
Of course, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Mata ne. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Mata ne.
Mata ne.